So I was printing cake a day.
Seems like a Ponzi.
It is a Ponzi. Everything is a Ponzi, brother. It's all a Ponzi.
It's true.
The dollar's a Ponzi. Yep. Bitcoin is a Ponzi.
Oh man, I've heard some egregious things in my time in crypto. I've heard people call it the wild, wild west. I've heard people call it an index for money laundering. And look, I'll be the first to admit that the crypto space isn't the most transparent and it's full of scams and shady projects. But Luke Belmar, the chap that rose from e-commerce, became famous, sitting with Andrew Tate in some blogs, and apparently has made tens of millions of dollars trading and shorting certain crypto projects, including, famously, UST during the Terra Luna collapse, says that all of crypto is but just a Ponzi, including Bitcoin. Let's react to what he had to say. And as a warning, some of this may trigger some of you crypto investors. Let's get straight into it.
Bitcoin's obviously going to go under 65,000.
A ledger. In my house ain't a ledger, bro.
$500,000 short, wrote it to about 47 cents. Made $1 million. Jeez. But it was easy in Puerto Rico, and it was at $25 million market cap before anybody really knew about it. As soon as everybody started talking about it, I left.
Altcoin versus Bitcoin, because I know you made a ton of money.
He said an interesting thing there already. As soon as everybody started talking about it, I left. What he's referring to is riding waves, being a step ahead of the waves. If you watch our content, you know we talk about doing the opposite of what the market sentiment is, right? By the time the tourists have come into the market, oftentimes it's time to take profit. Same with anything, right? This is the same with real estate, the same with stocks. It's a very common investment strategy where you want to ride a wave, but you want to get out before the music stops.
In crypto, specifically altcoin, DeFi, NFTs, now you're kind of just sitting in cash. What is, like, would you recommend people hold them for the long term, invest in them from the long term?
Altcoins are shit.
Okay.
So they're shit because you're investing in like ICOs, and you're basically investing into like pre-seed companies that you don't know if they're going to do something or not. I run things.
I mean, that's just going to trigger a lot of people, right? I mean, to say every single altcoin, look, I'll be the first to admit that a lot of the thousands and tens of thousands of altcoins will eventually trend towards zero, right? Their value will die. A lot of them will be scams. A lot of them will be rug pulls. A lot of them will not amount to anything. But you can say the same for any other asset class, right? You can say the same for stocks. So many stocks don't make it. Just because we invested in S&P and NASDAQ stocks, there are so many penny stocks out there that won't make it. So yes, not every altcoin. I don't agree with him saying that every altcoin is a load of garbage. No, I would say that a certain small percentage are those that are going to succeed. But of course, you are playing around with risky, what I like to call startup when you're investing in altcoin. With Bitcoin, Ethereum, you kind of got those OGs. And then once you go beyond that, you have to understand it's like investing in a startup. Not every startup, in fact, the majority of startups do fail, but you're looking for those gems.
Cycles, right? So I'm not married to any token, any project, any founder. I'm not a fanboy of anybody, dude. I'm here to make my money and I'm out.
Yeah.
So I run on momentum, right? So if I understand that momentum plays are going to go towards DeFi, I'm going to position myself in DeFi before everybody else positions themselves in DeFi. So we were already playing DeFi in 2019, bro. When Uniswap just launched, like we were on all the DEXs, we were running liquidity pools, we were well informed. So when CZ from Binance hops on Clubhouse and says, oh yeah, there's this project that Binance is partnering with called PancakeSwap. No, we're going to launch our own chain to compete with Uniswap. I said, I'm going to bet on this motherfucker, bro. This guy took BNB token when I bought it at $2 in 2017, 600.
Wow.
Exactly what we're talking about here. So what Luke is saying is his go-to investment strategy is the momentum strategy, right? But you could also call this social investing as well. What his skill is and what he's able to use is he feels he's able to gauge where the market sentiment is. So he used the example of PancakeSwap, right? He knew CZ was going to come on, that's going to lead to a pump in the price, and he was able to read that to then place his positions. Now, there's nothing wrong with this type of strategy, right? No different to how you think, if you think electric vehicles are going to have a really popular next 10 years, you would go ahead and buy some Tesla, right? Nothing wrong with doing that in crypto. And also, the other thing he said really positively there was he doesn't trust anybody. I think that's a really healthy mindset to have in crypto. Is just to challenge everything. Don't take anything from anyone as gospel, questioning whether it's CZ, whether it's Brian Armstrong at Coinbase. We've learned in this crypto space through FTX collapsing, Celsius, Voyager, that we can't trust anybody. We should question it all. So definitely agree with that take from Luke.
This guy's going to push liquidity into his own DEX so that he can run his BUSD and his BNB token pumps. So I put most of my net worth into PancakeSwap over like the extension of like a year and a half.
Yep.
And damn, guys, this is the kind of thing, right? Like, this is what I mean. There's something called survivorship bias. Survivorship bias is you only ever hear from the 1% who survived doing something crazy. So for all the millions of people who put their entire net worth into a momentum trade, a social trade, which, he's just said it is. He's riding a hunch that he's got a social trade that he thinks the momentum is going to go to this place, which he could be wrong, right? And even if he was right, something cataclysmic could happen, like another kind of a virus or something like that, which could throw off your trade. Right? There's always extenuating circumstances, which even if you're right with your thesis, can throw you off, which is why it's never sensible, never okay to throw your whole net worth into a particular investment. And if Lucas said, if it's what is true around him building his wealth in e-commerce, it would be a substantial amount of money. We're talking multiple millions of dollars to throw into something like PancakeSwap. That would be insane to do, right? So definitely not something which is repeatable, definitely something which relies on survivorship bias, right? Just because he's successful doing that, if it's true that he was successful doing that and you believe it, even then, how many people would have to fail for that, that trade to have gone right for him? Not a good strategy, not even a repeatable strategy.
It ended up pretty well.
What was your multiple on that?
At least 20x, 25.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a pretty good play.
And that was the most.
And look at that guy. He did all of that for a 20 to 25x. Is it worth it? Why would you need to risk your entire net worth, potentially go down to zero, to get a 20 to 25x? And this is the problem. It's messages like this which can send a young investor off on the wrong path. They think, oh, if he's done it, I should be able to do that too. Guys, to change your life, you only need 3 clean 10x. 3 clean 10x. Or if you want to go for 5x's and 6x's, 6 or 7, 8 of those, and you can change your life. Right? If you can save up your first 1 grand, 10x that to 10 grand, 10x that again to 100 grand, you're already at 100 grand with 2 10x. 3 10x's brings you to a millionaire. You don't want to be doing all these DJ plays. These are the things that keep holding you back. You save up to 10 grand, 100 grand, you then throw it all on one project, and you end up back at zero again. And you keep repeating the cycle. It's not a sustainable and pragmatic way of investing.
Here now, but it was in transitions, right? So I would come in, come out. Because remember, bro, the beautiful thing about DeFi is you had staking pools.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say buy my PancakeSwap token cake.
Yep.
I would just tat it on my neck because it was obvious. I would stake it. Yep. And I would stake it. There was one point where it was like 5,000% APY. So I was printing cake a day.
Seems like a Ponzi.
It is a Ponzi. Everything is a Ponzi, brother. It's all a Ponzi.
It's true.
The dollar's a Ponzi.
Yep.
Bitcoin is a Ponzi. Everything's a Ponzi. Why? Because you're reliant on.
This is just becoming like tinfoil hat conspiracy. How can you say everything is a Ponzi? It just doesn't make sense. You can't just claim everything is a Ponzi. Yes, certain things in the crypto space are Ponzi. We've covered some of those here on this channel. There are some big Ponzi schemes, just like everything in traditional finance. But to say everything is a Ponzi shows a lack of understanding of what actually constitutes a Ponzi. If there is true value being created, and in terms of the Bitcoin network, which is the most egregious of his statements here to say Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme, it's not a Ponzi scheme. It shows he doesn't understand why market cap flows into Bitcoin. He doesn't understand that what you're paying for when you're investing in Bitcoin is you're paying for the most powerful, decentralized compute power there is in crypto. That is what you're paying for. A traditional Ponzi scheme would work like this. I say, hey guys, give me your money, I'm going to give you 10% returns. And I go and try new users, use their money to give you your 10% return. That's not what's happening here on Bitcoin. So to call it a Ponzi doesn't make sense. I mean, it shows a lack of understanding of the architecture of Bitcoin and some of these bigger cryptocurrencies. Even less so if we then go talk about something like Ethereum, which is a smart contract platform where there's various dApps and apps being built on it. It's like calling the internet a Ponzi scheme. It's like calling the Apple App Store a Ponzi scheme. It just doesn't make sense, right? Now, what I think he's trying to allude to is the concept that crypto can be a zero-sum game. And that's a different conversation which we can break down into. And yes, to an extent, if you do look at it from a short-term perspective, which clearly he does, and we'll hear this as he kind of gets into it, then crypto for some participants can seem like a zero-sum game. But for those who are in this for the long run, who want to build this space and actually build proper use cases, who aren't just treating it as a speculation asset, then it is not a zero-sum game. It's like somebody who's trading Tesla can say, oh, Tesla shares are only as good as the next person buying it at a higher price. Well, to Elon Musk, that isn't the game he's playing. The game he's playing, he's built a $1 trillion company by making electric vehicles accessible, make them work, and make them ubiquitous around the globe, right? It's a bigger mission to move from ICE engines to electric vehicles. So from that perspective, it's not a zero-sum game whatsoever. He's increasing efficiency in the world and adding to GDP. He's adding value. But to the speculator, oh, it's just speculation, right? I'm just trading, I'm buying it, somebody else can buy it at a higher price. For that person, it may well be a zero-sum game.
For example, FTT, right? Or Solana. I think it was 2020. I heard about Solana and it was at $4. Just the name alone, the ecosystem sounded like an absolute fraud. And then
I mean, come on, guys. Like, I don't know how people, how you tell me, if you're listening to this guy for crypto advice, like, tell me, like, what is it? Like, what is it here that's giving you crypto advice? He just said that the name of the token told him it's a fraud. Is that not just hindsight bias? Like, let's be real, right? Let me see you actually document the time when you actually did this. That's what I'd want to see, because this is you just saying stuff for the sake of this. He's clear in hindsight, okay, you were right, yeah, Solana collapsed. At the time, you knew from the logo?
Another one that I shorted that I made a lot of money was TUSD, Terra.
That was your biggest short, wasn't it?
Well, my biggest short was Luna. The reason I knew UST was a scam, I just looked at the logo. I looked at I swear to you, it was a logo, a world, and a US flag on top. I'm like, brother, what the fuck is
You having a laugh? He knew to short UST, which is algorithmically backed stablecoin, because of the logo. Now, had he have come out and said, look, I knew it from the setup, from the dynamics, I looked into the code, it didn't make sense to have an algorithmically backed stablecoin, I looked into Do Kwon, something didn't seem right. I mean, because everybody knows that in hindsight, but if you did that at the time, you would have been a very popular voice. There's no evidence that anybody was calling that out in the early days.
Who's going to put their dollars into this thing? And then I started looking at the fact of how they were managing their basket of assets, and their stability was based on the most unstable currencies. Basket of assets with Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, their own tokens.
Now you're talking a little bit of sense. If you track back to when this whole Terra Luna situation collapsed, and we covered it daily. We made videos on this daily as it started to break, that they were starting to depeg. And if you remember before that, there was a period where Do Kwon was seen as this savior because he decided to back his algorithmically backed stablecoin with some more reserves. And he said he was going to do that by buying billions of dollars of Bitcoin. And at the time, the market loved it. They put him on a pedestal. You remember this, guys? Go watch the video. It's all recorded on this channel. And I made a video saying, guys, why are you putting him on a pedestal? This is not okay what he's doing. Why is he using Bitcoin to back an algorithmically backed stablecoin? You shouldn't need anything in the reserve. Then it gets even worse when we post another video, I think it was a couple of weeks later, where he decides to put Avalanche in the reserves and some other coins as well. So all coins backing your UST. And this is where, all the alarm bells started ringing. It looked odd from there. So yeah, this was a clear point that started unfolding in those last few days of Terra Luna.
Were the foundation for the currency. It was absolutely ridiculous, dude. It was stupid. At all these basket of assets that were inflated, I was like, Bitcoin's obviously going to go under 65,000, which means this dollar pegging, unless the guys know how to trade like absolute animals and control the market, they're going to lose money. Therefore, TUSD is going to lose money. So I just shorted the fuck out of it. 50K to 2.1 to 2.6 million. I forget the exact number in 5 days. I mean, I called it publicly too.
I called
it publicly.
You can go on your highlight.
It was Solana 106 or 116. I forget the exact number. It's been so long. And I shorted that 5 days, dude. I made the call publicly and I told people this shit is going to zero. I didn't think it was going to implode so quickly. I thought it was going to slow rug.
It was a 1 day.
And that shit was crazy. Do you know what happened with Do Kwon yesterday?
He got arrested.
But you know what they found in his body? A ledger. In my house ain't a ledger, bro. What a fucking bitch.
That's crazy.
Imagine being so botted about money. You give up your freedom for it. What is it? A ledger up your ass.
It was a treasure.
Even worse.
They're thicker.
Even worse. So this motherfucker is in a situation where his entire life now revolves around a couple coins. They're imaginary. It makes no sense.
He's going to jail, bro.
So now I'm like George Soros, bro. I'm in the business of shorting fucking Ponzi's.
Now this is interesting. So what he's referring to here is George Soros, who famously shorted the GBP, right, and beat the Bank of England, which is where I'm sat here in the UK. And it's a good strategy, right? There's a lot of people that become sensationalist shorting every single project. There's one thing you need to remember, guys, particularly if you're new to investing. There's a huge bias when you short, right? Naturally, being a shorter, first and foremost, I don't like shorting, right? The reason I don't like shorting is you look at it from an ethical perspective. What value are you adding to the world? He's talking here about, Ponzi schemes and people not trying to build anything and all he cares about a couple of coins. But what are you doing? What you're doing is even worse. You're destroying projects, right? It's like, I think Gary Vaynerchuk famously said it once. He goes, I want to become the best by building the tallest skyscraper in the town, not by destroying everybody else. Right? And there's certain type of people who just want to destroy every single project and short and bash instead of building something that they like. And I think that has moral and ethical implications as well. But secondly, even from just an investment point of view, if you were just a straight investor, you've got to understand that when you short, you have unlimited risk. You also have the margin which you have to pay for as well, the lending rate. Okay, so when you have this short, you've got the price of any token can only go to zero. But to the upside, it can keep going even higher. So if you decide today to short Solana, for example, the maximum you can drive it down is for whatever the price is today, let's say it's $20, all the way down to zero. That's your maximum gain. But your maximum short squeeze, which is what we saw with the GameStop saga, right? I'm sure you've seen what a short squeeze is, can mean that the price can go to 300, 400, 500, and you're left holding an infinite bag. And this is something a lot of people don't talk about. They want to sensationalize, shorting like this and finding, situations like this and shorting it to the ground. It's a risky play. Now, you can do it. I don't advise on it. People do make money on it. But again, remember what I said about survivorship bias.
Scams.
Yeah.
Because it's all, bro, 90% of the shit's out there's a scam.
Yep.
Look what just happened with Square and Cash App.
Yep.
All their numbers are inflated. I lost 40 G's on that trade.
Yeah.
Their numbers are inflated. They're all a bunch of scamming rats. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna find the scammers and I'm just gonna bet against them. I did the same thing with what was the walking Ponzi?
I mean, he talks about having a sad life for Do Kwon. Like, for me, that would be a sad existence. If my whole life was spent just making money, shorting somebody else's projects, like, come on, man. What am I adding to the world? Right? At least, like, build your own business, do your own thing, invest in projects that you believe in, try to get on the board of those projects, invest in them, back them, right? That's more of a positive kind of addition you're having to this world. But just a short project, like, what are you doing? Like, what's the purpose of that? I don't understand it.
In crypto, I had a token.
Oh, on Solana?
It was
the one that had like the shoes?
Step-in. It was Step-in. And what was their token called? I forget. Some bullshit token.
Yeah.
I'll give you the premise of their product so that you understand how gimmicky it is and how easy it was to short. Their premise is you need to mint an NFT that costs $700 in order to use those NFT to give you access to walk to earn. That's what they called it. Walk to earn.
My trainer was doing it.
You walk your steps.
He's making $400 a day.
And you earn money. I'm like, fuck, how's that sustainable? And then I realized what they were doing is they were taking the initial NFT sale in order to participate, using that revenue, pay out people that were walking.
Classic.
So then I was like, what happens when no more people?
But this is a much better example. So he's referring to GMT token, right, Stefan? Again, we made some videos here on this channel. I told you it's something I'm staying away from. I don't like the project. This is much more of a Ponzi scheme, right? Again, like he's saying, you had to pay for your trainer NFT, and they were using everybody who were buying for the trainer NFT to pay off the money they promised you for walking by it, right? So this is more of a traditional Ponzi-like dynamic. Definitely agree on that.
Buy the original NFT.
Sure.
There's no more liquidity to pay people out.
Yeah, no new.
So now people are left with all these bullshit expensive NFTs and walking days to pay for it. Days. It made no sense. I was like, I'm going to short the fuck out of it. I think it was GMT. GMT is what it was called. It was at $1.67. Heard it was $500,000 short. Wrote it to about 47 cents. Made $1 million on that.
Jesus.
But it was easy because obviously when you understand the fundamentals of how they're trying to make money or what their product value is, it doesn't work.
Sure.
So look, I like the fact that he can clearly read momentum, right? He seems like he's good at reading the social ether. He seems, he's got his finger on the pulse. He knows what's going on. He knows what's trending. That seems to be his trading investing style. Again, nothing wrong with that. That's a really positive angle. Now, my view would be I try to do that to the positive side, right? I'd rather read, what are the positive trends and narratives and momentum that are going on and try to invest in a positive sense instead of a destructive sense of shorting. But still, it's a good investment strategy. Nothing wrong with momentum trading. Now, I'd want to understand what is his portfolio, right? Does he have a portfolio? Does he DCA? I don't think he does, right? I don't think he's trying to build a sustainable, pragmatic portfolio. I think he just waits for an opportunity like a Terra Luna or, like he said, GMT with Stepan, and he goes and attacks, and then he jumps back out again. But then how is that building a pragmatic portfolio going into the bull market?
Club, when I found you on Instagram, is because you talk so openly about the Ponzi's, and I've always had this mindset. I never got in altcoins. I never traded shitcoins. But what I did do wrong was I knew they were Ponzi's, and I did not take advantage and short them and profit monetarily. Do you think for me, selling some in the next bull run when the greed gets crazy is a smart move?
Yes, because you need to be fluid.
Yeah.
You need to, bro, you can't be a Bitcoin fanboy. You need to be a Colin fanboy. Bitcoin is here to make Colin win, not Colin here to make Bitcoin win. So I'm using Bitcoin to get.
I completely agree with that, right? You don't owe anybody anything in this space. It's a tough space to be in, right? And projects, when they collapse, will not owe you anything. And equally, you do not owe them anything. You don't owe project anything. You don't owe an exchange anything. You don't own an NFT backer or project anything. Nothing. You just got to look after your portfolio and build and invest where you want to invest. You don't need to have crazy loyalty. If a project's change dynamics or the narrative has changed, you've got to be fluid, like you said. You've got to be able to move and accept your losses and change your direction, pivot, and change direction.
Rich, I don't give a fuck if one day I have to move all my money to Singaporean dollars or to some bullshit currency, or if one day Litecoin becomes the world reserve currency. I don't care. I'm going to move it accordingly. My job is to do three things: create wealth, multiply it, and preserve it. So you run through three cycles. First is creating. It's very hard to create money or create wealth inside of the markets because most people lose. So you need to create wealth outside of the markets, a business, a job.
Very important. I'm so glad he mentioned a lot of the OG people in the crypto space don't talk about this. We made video on this. You've got to figure out your streams of income, right? A lot of people are like, I want to invest in crypto. Yeah, have you got money to invest? If you don't have money to invest, where is it coming from? Are you going to trade? If so, you need to learn how to become a trader, become profitable, which isn't easy. And then you've got to invest those profits. If you're going to invest, where's that cash coming from? Do you have a startup? Do you have real estate? Do you have cash flow coming in from your job where you can spare a couple of $100 a month to invest in crypto? You need to get your cash flow right. People in crypto don't want to talk about this.
And you multiply your money. You can't multiply your money through work because you only have X amount of hours.
Yeah.
But you multiply it through investing. So create money, whatever money you're willing to lose, invest it to multiply it, and then what? Understand where cycles start and finish, and then you go into preservation. You sell, you stay on cash. Today I was reviewing Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway portfolio of the 90s and the early 2000s, just to understand how he was thinking.
Sure.
And there was years where he was 50% cash. I'm talking tens of billions of dollars. There's years where the market was roaring and he was in 50% cash.
Wow.
Why? Because he's playing the long-term game.
He's waiting for the crash.
He's waiting, bro. He's playing the long-term game because...
And this is an important lesson for any investor out there. Any investor. If you're a real estate investor, if you're a stock investor, if you're a crypto investor, it doesn't matter. You need to have dry powder. We speak about it at length, right? If you don't have dry powder, when you're in a bear market, you're not going to be able to buy. When we're in a recession, you're not able to buy. When we're going on rate hiking cycles, you won't be able to buy. So you need to know when to be in the market and when to be out of the market. And you don't want to be getting left holding the bag when the music stops.
So you're doing like this.
I multiplied, and then it went down. I didn't get to the last one.
And that's where you multiply and preserve.
Because I listened to everyone on Twitter. I listened to all
the Twitter heads.
I listened to all the Bitcoin maxis, and I thought, you know what? Hey, I'm open for waiting for 10 years because I know where Bitcoin's going. But now in this, year bear market, I did not get to take advantage and buy Bitcoin at 15K.
Okay, so they're getting two things mixed up there as far as I'm hearing. One thing, do you want to hold stuff multi-cycle? I personally don't mind holding stuff multi-cycle. Of course, during a bull market, I will trim profit, and I'll explain to you guys as we get into the next bull market. And I made videos on that as well. It's important to understand that you still need those streams of income coming in. So you need streams of income throughout bull market and bear market, so you can keep buying Bitcoin at 15,000. Right? You don't want to be selling your Bitcoin in a bull market necessarily just to then buy some more in the bear market. Then you're limited to the amount of money you're just playing around with in the market. You're in, you're out, you're in, you're out. You're trying to time the market, and you're going to mess up. What's better is get money you can just park for a long time and shovel it away. Get some more, shovel it away. What's going to happen is your average buy is really cheap. You'll be able to buy in bear markets at 15,000. You'll also be able to top up at 35 and 40 and 45, and you can keep building your portfolio that way. That's a far more pragmatic way. How the amateur crypto investor does it is they're trying to time every single cycle, and they mess it up. They mess it up big time, right? They would take profits at 60,000, and then Bitcoin runs up to 100,000. You're like, oh, I thought we're going down to 10 now. Right? So many people get wrecked like that. So it's easy in hindsight to be like, oh yeah, Bitcoin rotated at 69. If I sold at 69, I would have bought some at 15. Yeah, no crap, right? Obviously. But it wasn't that obvious at the time. At the time, you thought, and a lot of people thought, Bitcoin would go up to 100,000. So you need to trim, not just take everything out of the market, trim. And constantly trim, regardless of how much FOMO and greed there is in the market.
To basically just survive.
Yeah.
I couldn't thrive.
You had to stick it out.
I had to stick it out, bro. It was one of the hardest things I ever did. And I asked you, should I sell here? And it was at like, what, 20K? And you were like,
no, not at this.
Yeah, you missed it.
I was like, you should have sold before, bro.
Yeah.
I'll sit on it.
That's
yeah.
typical.
So would you...
And that is a typical story of somebody who's not tuned into the market, the guy on the right-hand side. Buying. Oh, everybody told me to buy, so I bought the piece. Oh, now we're down to 20. Should I sell now? Come on. Who does that, right? Who does that? That's not what you want to be doing. You want to be DTAing and be averaging yourself in, and you don't want to time the market. You're going to get wrecked. There's some very experienced out there who are wrecked exactly that type of person. Colin.
Hey, for me, next cycle, is it something where you would trade like shitcoins again, or would
I would find, so I would never invest in old altcoin projects. So things that I've already had their like boom, like I would never buy Solana again
or Pancake.
I would never buy AVAX. Why? I might buy Pancake Swap because they're actually currently fucking savages and they actually work. They have a ton of money and they're still really backed by Binance.
Yeah,
that's the only one because DeFi and is still such a big space. Big projects.
Okay, so he just said a crazy statement and then just qualified that statement, right? He said, I'm never going to buy an old altcoin. I disagree with that. A lot of people come up with this narrative that if you're holding an altcoin that was a darling of a previous bull cycle, doesn't mean it can't do well. They say it won't do well in the next bull market. Disagree with that. And he's even just said that himself. He said he would buy Pancake Swap again because they're savages. If your crypto project is a bunch of savages, they got good cash, what he's describing there, right? They're fundamentally a good project and nothing has changed. And in fact, they've become better over the bear market. Then why do you have to drop it just because it's an old project and it was around in the last cycle? such a fallacy.
It used to be like hot, like AVAX and Solana, and these projects that were like the household names. I'm never going to invest
There's going to
in
be new ones, right?
Exactly, because there's all going to be the new hype. The new hype's going to be AI integration, all this gimmicky bullshit. So what I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to figure out who are the winners, who are the guys that know how to market, who are the guys that know how to push momentum, who are the guys that are connected with the market makers and the exchanges, invest in those companies, bet on those people. And once I start seeing cracks in the system, sell and short the fuck out of it, dude. Yeah, so what I would say.
Okay, so now he's doing a double whammy approach, right? So he's saying he's going to read the social ether, find the narrative. He wants to invest in those narratives, those that are popping off. As the tourists jump in to get that narrative, they're going to pump the price up, and then he's going to not only jump out of it, he's going to jump out of it and then short those people who bought his bags, right, to the downside. So he's attacking people. He's luring them in to the upside, and then he's gonna dump on you to the downside as well to short you guys.
This Wonderland time thing, he's the new DeFi god. Like, everybody starts pouring their money. I start seeing TikToks. What am I going to do with my 14,000% APY? Well, I'm going to be depositing $30,000 and my return will give me enough to buy a Lambo monthly payment. I started seeing TikToks like this.
Oh,
sold, done, out of it. Market.
So again, he's reading the social ether. When people are getting too greedy, he knows that's time to get out. And not only does he get out, he then shorts to the downside, so he's profiting in both directions. Not too bad a strategy, right? It's smart. Whether it's ethical or not, that's up to you as a personal choice. I mean, some people just want to get rich. Regardless, for me, there's more meaning to life and kind of building projects and investing in what I believe in. But overall, look, we've got a strategy that seems to be working for him. And I think as long as it's working for him, good for him. But remember, there is survivorship bias in this stuff, guys. And you do not want to get caught out when the music stops. If you're going to play this risky strategy, this degen strategy, when you throw all your net worth shorting a project to the downside, which could recover, that's something you've got to take on. But for me, I'm going to take it in a sustainable, pragmatic way. Hopefully you found this breakdown of Luke Belmar's strategy interesting. If you did, smash the likes. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.